Right into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance.
Hi, you're watching Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. On the show today, the World Cup buzz is truly on. The Australian cricket team has announced their World Cup squad, and there are a few surprises as well as some predictable selections. We decode the Aussie way of picking a World Cup squad. Former world number one Rafael Nadal spends an emotional farewell after losing the Madrid Open at the Madrid Open round 3. What is this new version of Rafael Nadal that his fans are seeing? I'll tell you more. And stay on a bit longer as we also do a deep dive on what is ailing Manchester United. Some changes in the management is making all the headlines, but where does the fault lie when the team bombs? Is it the players or the system and the management itself? But first, Sports 360. We'll start with football. The Champions League clash between Real Madrid and Bayern Munich ended in a 2-2 draw. Vinicius Jr. gave Madrid the lead at halftime. Leroy Sané replied with an equalizer 8 minutes into the second half. Harry Kane netted a turnaround penalty to shift the match in Bayern's favour. Vinicius bagged the second goal to level the scores. Over in tennis, men's world number one Novak Djokovic has parted ways with his fitness coach Marco Panici. The Serb announced this on his social media yesterday. Panici joined Djokovic's team as fitness coach in 2017. Djokovic, in fact, has parted ways with longtime coach Goran Ivanisevic as well. This was last month. Over in the NBA, Milwaukee Bucks beat Indiana Pacers 115-92 in the first round playoffs. The win in Game 5 helped them avoid a first round exit as Pacers lead 3-2 in the series. Chris Middleton stepped up with 33 points in the absence of Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard. Bucks and Pacers will face off in the sixth game to decide the winner for the second round. Over in Formula One, Red Bull confirmed the departure of Chief Technical Officer Adrian Newey. The engineer will leave the team after the 2024 season. Newey spent almost 2 decades with Red Bull. His departure comes in the wake of controversy surrounding team principal Christian Horner. And in badminton, India have secured a total of 5 quotas for the upcoming Paris Olympics. HS Pranoy and Lakshya Sen will represent India in the men's singles draws, while PV Sindhu will be India's lone participant in the women's. In the doubles events, Satvik Sairaj Rankireddy and Chirag Shetty will feature in the men's event, and Tanisha Krasto and Ashwini Ponnappa have qualified over in the women's draw. Now, cricket is going to hit fever pitch in a month, and T20 World Cup is the buzzword. Squads have been announced for most of the sides. Today was in fact the last day to send in the 15-man list. It's still not over though, and there are so many opinions doing the rounds regarding various sides that have already been announced. We're talking of the Aussie squad today. Australia has won the T20 World Cup just once, and they did that in 2021. Let's look at the squad before we do a dive in. What strikes you immediately is that Mitchell Marsh will captain the side. The message is clear. Unlike certain other boards or even franchises who look to swap and change people at the helm, basis performances or lack of form or just a change in the system, Australia believes in building a legacy and handing over reins and persisting with it. So despite the success that Pat Cummins has enjoyed in different formats as a captain, and now as well, particularly executing the captaincy role of an IPL franchise, there is no temptation to upset the apple cart and make changes to see if that would work in the Australia setup too. Mitchell Marsh was announced as the T20 skipper of the national side, and the selectors believe he has earned that privilege to continue as captain for the World Cup too. So Pat Cummins will play under Mitchell Marsh.
I'm extremely grateful to have such a good group of people in our players and staff. We have had some strong success in recent times, and I'm hopeful that will continue in what looks like a wide open tournament. We take a very experienced group to the West Indies. I very much look forward to the challenge and working alongside Andrew, the coaches, players and staff.
And there's a method to this selection. It's reflective of Australia's ideology. First of all, this is 90% of the squad that won them the World Cup. So there is a strong faith that this bunch will deliver them the trophy once more. There is such a furor, or there is of course a huge furor over the selectors not picking the young sensation Jake Fraser McGurk, all of 22. He's nowhere in the picture when it comes to the Australian national team for the T20 World Cup. The youngster who's in fact creating waves in the IPL currently in the Delhi franchise, top of the order, is not anywhere close to an Aussie cap and is not featuring in Australia's World Cup plans. Now here's the thing, the Aussies believe that a national call-up is big. It's a massive honour and it has to be earned. They're surely watching him to see how he performs here on, but they are in no way giving him that ticket just yet. There is no becoming prey to recency bias anywhere here, much like what many other boards are victim to. I don't want to go into details of that here. So what has Australia essentially done here is stick with David Warner one more time. The same David Warner whose place Jake McGurk has taken up in the Delhi franchise as an opener. Just shows the way Cricket Australia really thinks. What they are saying is Jake McGurk can be flamboyant and create all the buzz he wants to, and that is great for the Aussie future. But when it comes to playing for Australia and at the T20 World Cup that's just a month away, they will back experience and the power that David Warner brings. Even without enough T20 practice and runs under his belt leading up to the tournament, the same Australia has also let someone like Steve Smith go. It has been some time coming though. They truly believe that he doesn't feature in their T20 plans at this point. It's clear and clean. They've not retained a senior hand into the squad to take up a spot because they have retained someone like David Warner and Matthew Wade.
Being constrained to a squad of 15 for World Cup is always a challenge given the different scenarios and options we would like to cover. We will continue monitoring several players who have missed out on this preliminary squad, and note that if we wish to change this squad, we have the option to do so. Ultimately, the balance of the final 15 needs to provide the best chance of being successful in this campaign.
Clearly, there's a plan in place for each position, each spot in that squad. The bowling unit, for example, picks itself. Pat Cummins spearheads a pacey attack of Josh Hazlewood, Mitchell Starc and Nathan Ellis. Cameron Green is being persisted with because he's a talent that the selectors have invested in across formats. So there is a plan in place here too. The spinners Adam Zampa and Ashton Agar are in. You have a sense of predictability when it comes to the batting when you see the names of Marcus Stoinis, Glenn Maxwell, Tim David and of course Travis Head, the man who looks all set to open the attack with the experienced David Warner at the other end. Australia as a cricket system, a setup, believe in continuity. That is, and consistency. That is how the selection committee comprising George Bailey, Tony Dodmaid and Andrew McDonald thinks. Yes, there is no risk-taking streaks here. That has its own advantage, but Australia don't see it as a drawback. Incumbency is a buzzword. Like their test unit, they do not shake a unit that they believe in to just get someone new. Unless, of course, that person has proven his talent and done the time and the hard yards. So to them, this is the squad that is capable of winning the T20 trophy, and going by just how power-packed this looks, they are definitely top contenders for sure. The former world number one, Rafael Nadal, lost in the fourth round of the Madrid Open. He lost to a lesser-known Jiří Lečka in straight sets. It was at a tournament that he has had a lot of success in. It's a tournament that's played on clay. It's at his home country. So many things making this a memorable tour. But a loss is still a loss, and it's not just Rafael Nadal and his team or his family, particularly his wife, but his die-hard loyal fans too, who've experienced a bunch of emotions through the last few weeks, which is what makes this particular chapter of Rafael Nadal's journey a little complex. What I mean is, first of all, let's face it, this is the last phase of Nadal's career, his final journey. This is the stage that every sports person, especially the top stars, always dread secretly, because everyone likes going out on a high. With Rafael Nadal, though, that venture has been trying, to say the least. It's been a struggle, and maybe it's something he did not foresee. The problem is not just coming back from a career-threatening injury. I think Rafael Nadal probably reckoned that would have been the easy part, coming back after a year. I think what he is realizing is that this journey here on and trying to get back to the kind of player he was before he left in 2023 is what is proving to be the most difficult aspect of this comeback. And it's strange. Can we really call this phase his comeback or his imminent goodbye. Every match, every win, a fist pump, a wonderful rally, and every single tournament here on is going to provide a reminder to everyone of what Rafa meant to tennis and what could have been. And guess what? It's probably what Nadal himself is experiencing everywhere he's going. Even after the loss, the court decked up like it was a final, and Nadal had in fact won it all. There were banners reminding them and all the fans of what he'd achieved at the Madrid Open, and fans applauding, emotional scenes that only brought goosebumps to anyone who's witnessed the Spaniard's journey over the years. Even as fans choked back tears and his family watched on, eager to soak in every bit of this legend in what looks like a farewell tour this year, Nadal himself couldn't hold back his emotions.
It was a very special week for me, very positive and very emotional. I had the opportunity to play one more time here on this court. All I can say is thank you to everyone that has helped me in my career. It hasn't finished yet. This was a joke, because I'll be back next year.
Nadal jokingly, of course, added he will be back next year, almost like the parent consoling the child. But here's the thing, everyone is sensing it, the inevitability of it all. But here's how Rafael Nadal is making it easy for everyone. He's not dwelling on the things that are not working out, and you can sense that. You can see what those are. He's not dwelling on the loss so much as the chance to say bye-bye to his fans all over the world, and at least wherever he can. There are no wails and stammers and regrets. There is hope and the sense of nostalgia, and everyone is lapping this up, loving this version of Nadal. For 2 decades, we've seen the competitive side of Nadal, an athlete who's been tenacious, gritty, feisty. But now, after his comeback from an extended injury layoff, Nadal seems to be enjoying this time. The Spaniard is not worried about results or even future tournaments, but his sole focus remains to play for the fans.
At the end of the day, I'm going to set out my perspectives day by day. One match isn't going to change my perspectives. To change my perspectives on the situation, first I need to be convinced that I'm responding physically. So that comes first, and then I have to recover my confidence in myself, tennis-wise, and in all senses really. As such, my perspectives aren't changing. All that's happened is that I have the opportunity to play another day here.
As Rafael Nadal embarks on what looks like the final phase of his journey in professional tennis, he's taking his fans along for the ride. Barcelona and Madrid were just a couple of pit stops and indications of what lie ahead. And I guess it's something that he has realized over the last few months. The desire to come back and win big and fight with the youngsters has somehow transformed to one of reliving the good part of his career, the tennis, the profession, the thing that actually gives him most joy. He's embracing the last phase of his career unlike most others. He's making sure he's leaving a memorable legacy in this last part, a testament to the passion and uniqueness that he brought to the sport over 2 decades ago when he burst onto it. And it's because of this, even youngsters are cherishing the opportunity to play him. In the round of 32, Pedro Cachin, another Nadal fan, asked for Nadal's jersey. These are, of course, some scenes after Cachin lost the match. But with Nadal's exit from the Madrid Open, the focus now shifts to his future tournaments. Nadal will next feature at the Italian Open in Rome and his final preparation before the French Open. That is, if he does decide to play. A decision he's, of course, yet to make.
I'm going to make my decision about Paris after Rome. I'm on my own journey. If I get there, I get there. If I don't, then I don't. What I'm not going to do is play in Paris without feeling like I can compete. If I'm going to go out on court, it will be with the feeling that I can really do my best and compete. I think that's logical after all I've experienced in Paris. I don't want to feel any other way on that court, which is so important to me.
The The former world number one isn't chasing glory. He's already has 22 Grand Slams to his name, and he knows there is someone who's already surpassed him, and there may be others too in the future who will. It's hard to tell, and he doesn't want to even think about that. His last phase isn't about his quest for silverware or correcting the critics or undoing or doing something more, but enjoying the tennis. His goal is not to leave his fans heartbroken, but give them something they can hold on to. After that loss in Madrid, in a post-match interview, Nadal said that he doesn't want his family to get emotional. He doesn't want to see them cry. He only wants them to enjoy watching him play. He's living in the moments, taking a leaf out of the book of tennis itself. Don't look at the set or winning the match, but think of winning the points. He said he's enjoying the fact that he has made his biggest passion his profession. How many of us can truly say that? That's what he is wanting to tell us all through this year, to stay on for the tennis and leave with a smile. Manchester United, a club synonymous with success and glory, now finds itself at crossroads. With the season reaching its final stage, the Red Devils find themselves in a precarious position. Sitting in 6th place on the points table, United are 6 points behind Tottenham and just 1 point ahead of 7th place Newcastle. It's a tight squeeze in there. We're tackling one of the hottest topics in football currently: Manchester United and its ongoing struggles in the Premier League. While their rivals Manchester City, Arsenal and Liverpool are competing for the Premier League title, United are struggling to even qualify for European competitions next year. From winning the Premier League 5 times between 2003 and 2012 to an abysmal last decade that has seen a severe Premier League trophy drought, United's fall has been the biggest talking point in English football, something that's shocked experts and rival clubs as well. It's not the case of United losing the matches that is upsetting, but their trials against underdogs and failure to hold on to the elite that is adding on to the misery. The entire squad seems to be lacking that killer instinct that defined Manchester United in the past. Defensive lapses, midfield mishaps, and a lack of creativity have all contributed to their downfall. Their recent encounter against Burnley ended in a 1-all draw. United were leading 1-0 until the last minute of the game, and they gave away a penalty to Burnley, who are 19th in the Premier League points table. This has been United's story all through the season. They've mostly been about to only draw against the teams in the bottom half, and it's not just their failure to hold on to leads that's been the biggest cause of their slump, but their lack of goal-scoring abilities too. This is in comparison with the top 3 there. Just look at the wide gap and the difference over here. They have a goal difference of just 1. That's appalling. This means they have only scored 1 goal more than what they have conceded through this tournament. One name that has been under the spotlight in this regard has been that of Marcus Rashford. Once hailed as one of England's brightest talents, Rashford's form has plummeted significantly this season. His lack of goals and inconsistency in the front of the net has frustrated fans and experts. Rashford has contributed 13 goals across 40 matches this season. The forward has faced a lot of flack for it. It's not just the lack of goals he's blamed for, he's even being called out for lack of intent. So much so that Rashford had to hit back at all the criticism.
When I make a mistake, I'll be the first one to put my hand up and say that I need to do better. But if you ever question my commitment to Man United, that's when I have to speak up. It's like somebody questioning my entire identity and everything I stand for as a man. I grew up here. I've played for this club since I was a boy. My family turned down life-changing money when I was a kid so I could wear this badge.
Given how much criticism Rashford has faced this season, even Erik ten Hag, United's manager, who has had a few run-ins with Rashford, came to his defense.
I have a lot of sympathy for Rashy, of course, and so last year he had a brilliant season. I think the best season in his career. He scored 30 goals, so there you see where he's capable of. And this season, he didn't give the performances, and then people are very critical, and I think we have to back him, and everyone should back him and push him to get back to the levels he was last year.
Ten Hag says Rashford needs to be backed, but according to reports, United are planning to sell him along with other players after the season. And this is where the main problem stems from. While the players certainly hold responsibility for the sorry run, we can't overlook the role of the management in this disaster of a season. Erik ten Hag, once hailed as the saviour of Manchester United, is under immense pressure. His tactics are being criticised, his substitutions questioned, and his inability really to inspire consistency in the team has raised serious doubts about his future at the club. Remember, it was ten Hag who thought Cristiano Ronaldo did not fit into United's scheme of things. And Ronaldo, of course, left the club to prosper in the Saudi League thereafter. It wasn't just Ronaldo that had a fallout with ten Hag. Sancho had disagreements over ten Hag's strict, almost dictatorial managerial style. Eventually, Sancho was loaned out to Borussia Dortmund, where he is currently happy playing in the Champions League semi-final. All this while United is grappling with the inability to qualify for the next year's group stage. But these are just some of the blunders ten Hag has done at United. The team is missing the magic of a manager power. It feels like there are players with individual talent who don't quite know how to function as a team when put together in one room. A key area that ten Hag and the United management seem to be clueless about. The discontent towards ten Hag among fans is of course clear, but the board seems hesitant to pull the trigger on yet another managerial change. However, with the prospect of missing out on European competitions looming large, drastic measures may be necessary to salvage what's left of the season and rebuild for the future. Manchester United's woes run deeper than just poor player performance. It's clear that the management's decisions and tactics have also played a significant part in their slump. And with pressure mounting on the top brasses, Manchester United announced more changes to its executive structure. The new era under co-owner Jim Ratcliffe continues to take shape. Interim CEO Patrick Stewart and Chief Financial Officer Cliff Beattie will leave the club at the end of the season. This was confirmed by the club, and Beattie will be replaced by former Ineos Sport CFO Roger Bell. It's worth pointing out here that Ineos Sport is, of course, manned by Ratcliffe, so he clearly is spearheading the changes that he believes will break the slump. Jean-Claude Blanc, CEO of Ratcliffe's Ineos Sport, will take the place of Patrick Stewart until Omar Berrada, of course, takes over later. Clearly, Ratcliffe era is dawning on Manchester United, but with the season almost done and dusted, the Red Devils look far away from claiming their glory days. Can the club really rise from the ashes and reclaim their status among footballing elite? Looks quite difficult. Time for Last Serve. It's 30 years today since the world lost the genius and daredevilry of Ayrton Senna. The three-time world champion died in a horrific car crash on this day in 1994. Fans gathered to pay their tribute to one of the best Formula One drivers to have graced the sport. That wraps up First Sports here today. I'll see you again tomorrow. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.